Now, close to the time that General Lee was taking the field, General Howard, who was in charge of the Union 11th Corps, who was the second corps in line pretty much right after the first corps taking the field, General Howard was now the senior ranking officer on the field, and he stood atop a Cemetery Hill and he was overlooking the situation. And he's thinking, okay, now I can get as many troops as I can against the Confederate 3rd Corps. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a bunch of artillery shells started exploding close to where he was. And then he realized that the shells were not coming from the west or actually from their own men, they were coming from the north. What had happened was Confederate troopers under the 2nd Corps had taken the field. They got around the area of Oak Hill just north of them, got a battery up there or a bunch of artillery guns, and they began shelling the area. And they saw the formation of General Rhodes' division up in that area as well. And so General Howard ordered his men up to that area as quick as possible. Now, General Rhodes, he was just like Heath, he was brand new division commander. He wanted to prove himself. So much like Heath, he charged in without looking at much. Meanwhile, the 11th Corps and remnants of the 12th Corps, they're in, and the 1st Corps, wrong corps all around, the 1st Corps and the 11th Corps, they're in that area. They were well entrenched, and Rhodes' division goes charging in. Some of them actually got surprised and flanked, and they wound up losing upwards of half their numbers just by marching blindly at the enemy. And so Rhodes' division was almost battered to pieces right out the gate. And so he's falling back almost in a complete bloody repulse, and he's feeling quite embarrassed by this. And so, but then Early's division comes up on his side, and Early begins pressing the attack as well. So you had the workings of 4 divisions. You had, General Lee had ordered Generals Heath and General Penders from the west, from Hill's Corps, to go against Gettysburg from the west. And they also had Early and Rhodes' division coming in from the north. Funny thing is, neither corps commander was around. A.P. Hill was sick in his bed back in a room in Cashtown. He had a strange illness. Nobody knew what to make of it at the time. You know, some people have speculated over the years that some people think he caught an STD, possibly syphilis, while cadet at West Point. And he also, they say he contracted malaria while he was in Mexico during the Mexican War. Those 2 factors caused him at times to just be completely incapacitated, and this was one of those times. So weak Hill got out of his bed and made his way to the front. Meanwhile, Ewell was in the back because he didn't go by horse. He tries to go on a horse and buggy. So that's one thing that General Ewell decided to do. So all the division commanders in Lee's army were making decisions without their corps commanders. They were basically making calls completely on their own, which would be an interesting point considering what was going to be happening for the duration of the battle. Meanwhile, the Union 11th Corps and the Union 1st Corps were trying to hold off all this gauntlet of Confederate troops that were coming at them. So more on that to come.